Today I want to talk about a concept that every traditional martial artist has heard at some point in their training. Maybe you've heard it from your teacher, maybe you've read about it in books, but in my experience I find that within the traditional Chinese martial arts, philosophical and metaphysical concepts are often introduced into the training, but without really giving much explanation as to how these physically manifest or apply within your body while you're doing your martial arts. So the concept that I want to talk about today is Yin and Yang, the concept of dual forces that interplay to create everything that we know. So for those of you that follow my content and know how I like to approach the traditional Chinese martial arts, you will know that I don't like abstract concepts that cannot be applied, cannot be used physically, cannot be understood physically. There are some teachers who just say, this is yin, this is yang, or do this, find yin in the body, find yang in the body. Yeah, but what does that mean? What does it mean? So in today's video, instead of talking about the basic idea of yin and yang and how, basically if one leg is bent, one leg is straight, there's opposites, one is yin, one is yang, and you're transferring from one to the other. These are all very basic levels of understanding of yin and yang. What I want to do today is I want to look at a more advanced, deeper understanding within the South Shaolin martial arts, especially the White Crane system and Tai Tzu Chuan. And within the South Shaolin context, the term used isn't yin and yang as much. The idea that is portrayed in teaching is a concept called Zi Wu. Apologies for my pronunciation, it might not be correct. Zi and Wu. And again, philosophically, they kind of correspond to the different times of day. So midday and midnight, or around that time of day. And all they're doing is they're just referring to different poles, two opposite poles. And the idea of Zi Wu is often described as meridian lines. So you see in the old White Crane texts or the old Tai Tzu Chuan texts, they say you need to keep Zi Wu centered, or you need to keep the meridian line straight, balanced, these concepts. And again, we can look at this in a deeper way. So Yin and Yang, or Zi Wu, I'm going to use interchangeably because they pretty much refer to the same idea of opposites. When we do our training, when we do our forms, for example, when we do partner work, when we do sparring, there's always going to be a relationship between a number of different things. And we need to be able to balance these different parts of the body, or if we're in contact with a partner, we need to balance ourselves with the partner's force or their direction or their structure so as to create balance and harmony. Now, if we're doing our own movements, our own forms, our own drills, when we're standing in our, for example, in our Sanjan stance, to be able to find yin and yang harmony, to harmonize them or to understand the differential between them, what we need to do is we first need to address the forces that are acting upon our body. So there are different forces acting upon our body, but the first and most obvious force that's acting upon our body, which most people don't even acknowledge, is the earth. Yeah, the contact of the earth on our feet. Now, if we collapse, we'll fall, we'll collapse, right? If we collapse our structure. So to stay upright, what we're doing is we are aligning ourselves with the solidity of the earth. So the earth in this context is yin, then we are yang, to be able to differentiate, to be able to harmonize with that. Because if we're also the same quality as the earth, we will collapse, right? So we need to harmonize ourselves with the earth. And the level of release that we have in our feet, so if we're tight, we'll have a different set of principles and qualities in our body. But if we release like we're supposed to, our body needs to reorganize to maintain that balance with the solidity of the earth. So when we're doing our forms, every time we step, because our attention's in the body, our mind is absorbed into the body, we do our movements, we step, and as we have that hardness of the earth affect our body, what happens is our body should then naturally reorganize inside to maintain balance without holding tension. I did a video recently on bridging. You can go find it in my videos. And I talk a little bit about this. But if we make a contact with a partner, if we bridge with a partner or a partner bridges with us by applying a force to us, the point of contact, there will be a force applied to our body. Now, if our system doesn't reorganize around the force that they're applying, then I'm going to go off balance. I'm going to fall, I'm going to be taken down, I'm going to be thrown. But the idea of balancing yin and yang or zi wu is when the contact is made, my body is intelligent enough, my internal state is intelligent enough to adjust itself around that force so that it creates balance. That way, I remain rooted and balanced because I'm not forcing back into my opponent and I'm not withdrawing, I'm not retreating, so I'm not facing his yang force with my yang force, and I'm not being overly yin to his maybe moderate yang force. All I do is on impact or on contact, as soon as my body feels and becomes aware of and knows my opponent's force, my body, without even much movement externally, readjusts to be able to redistribute that force around my body. So what's happening there is, on contact, we, both of us, are becoming one unit that represents the Tai Chi symbol, yeah? Now, when a person who isn't very trained in this makes contact with you and their nervous system expects resistance or expects collapse, but all they feel is balance, yeah? All they feel is balance, then their nervous system will make them unstable because they're not expecting that on contact they will touch balance. They think you will become unbalanced or you will overly commit, which is again unbalanced. But if you can maintain your qualities of zi wu or yin and yang, Tai Chi, then any person who touches you, they become unbalanced. And they become unbalanced maybe for a second, for 2 seconds. It depends on how good you are at it. But this is the idea of how to apply yin and yang, zi wu, in your training. Now, this is not something you can do intellectually. You can't feel contact and go, okay, now I adhere this way, or I react this way, or my body adjusts this way. That's too slow. You're going to be thrown, you're going to be punched, you're going to be attacked. This needs to happen through the intelligence of the body. Some people call it the intelligence of the Qi, yeah? Doesn't matter what you call it. It happens instinctively through many, many, many years of contact, and automatically the body just knows what to do. The body just knows how to readjust. And this begins from doing standing exercises, from doing static postures and through doing your forms, yeah? And the specific Gong exercises that your system has. So you're standing, doing your posture. So if I'm holding a posture from my Sanjan form, I'm standing and I'm feeling the contact of the floor, and then I'm allowing my feet to release, and then my body will readjust depending on, one, how released I am, and two, how my body is trained to react to contact, to force. So concepts of yin and yang and zi wu and stuff like this are not just abstract concepts that add some philosophy or cultural links to your training. They have specific meanings within what you are supposed to do. Yeah, it's fine if you know it, if you intellectually understand it, but your body needs to be able to do it. And that's why proper training and correct methods of training are important. Again, like a few of my other videos, this is me trying to explain a very difficult idea to you. It's very difficult to understand without actual feeling and having some level of training yourself. So I apologize if it isn't clear, but yeah, I hope it is. Let me know what you think.